This is Jesús Manuel Mena Garza, and this is my commentary. It's early May 2025, and I just wanted to talk about the American experience as I know it, growing up in the early 50s, through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, seeing the growth of Silicon Valley from my birthplace, San Jose, California, and understanding the history. I think I understand the history of the United States and why, in a capitalist system, manufacturing has left the United States of America. So, if you're interested in understanding why we're in the dilemma we're in, the lack of manufacturing in the United States, watch this video. So I have 4 points here. First of all, we're going to talk about Walmart. The Walton family, they're just down the road here in Bentonville, Arkansas. Beautiful little area. I like Bentonville, Arkansas. And they are pretty much the bloody end of the spear in regards to offshoring manufacturing, okay? Just imagine you're the Waltons, and all of them are billionaires, the richest family in the United States of America. And you want to make a profit, and your only motivation is make a profit. You don't care about the American worker. You don't care about anything like that. You just are motivated by profits. So you figure out that China has cheap labor. So you say, okay, I have this toy that's made in the United States, and talks to a Chinese manufacturer. Can you make it cheaper? And they come back with a prototype. Yeah, that works. We'll just put it into this name brand and we'll call it good. Okay. So that toy and other toys are now made in China, and they're sold through Walmart. Walmart makes a profit. Okay. Walmart goes to China and says, or talks to their Chinese salesperson and says, hey, we need these t-shirts. So these t-shirts are made in the United States. These shirts are made in the United States. These shoes are made in the United States. All these items a lot of Americans like to wear and to work, working class, lower socioeconomic Americans like, are made in the United States. Can you make them cheaper? And they say, of course we can. Of course we can. And they make them cheaper. And then you look on the shelves of all of Walmart, everything from their shirts to their underwear, to their socks, to their shoes, to their hats, everything. Belts. Where are they made? They're made in China because they make them cheaper. It's more profitable, especially for a large company like Walmart, to make stuff in China. If they can make it for a nickel less, they say, thank you very much, and we'll put that nickel in our pocket. Okay. So that's the story of Walmart, from electronics to clothing, to everything. 90% of the stuff on Walmart shelves are made where? In China. You see the big Christmas displays, and they go, man, all those Christmas trees, all them ornaments, all them toys, all them little, porcelain dolls, whatever they have down there, and the toys, etc. Toys, are made where? They're made in China. They used to be made in the United States. But Walmart, in its infinite wisdom, in saying, hey, we want to profit. We don't want to employ people over there in Ohio. We don't want to employ people over there in, Atlanta. We don't want to employ those people in, Massachusetts. We don't want to do that. We just want to make a profit. And we don't give a shit, absolute shit about those employees. And if if that manufacturing in those communities falls apart because we can get the same thing, about 98% there, made in China, we're going to make it in China and profit from it. And of course, as you very well know, there's Wally Worlds, Walmarts everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's Walmarts and Sam's Clubs. Everywhere you go, that's how it works out. So Walmart, the bloody point of the spear of deindustrialization of the United States, the movement of manufacturing plants. I mean, lock, stock, and barrel to those countries. These come after a while. All the competitors that were in the United States, hey, we can't compete with China. We're going to fire all our staff, and we're going to send them, all our equipment. Oop, there's a moth, and we're going to move it all to China. We're going to offshore everything, offshore oil. Okay. Cheap Labor, that's the number two reason I was saying. All these manufacturers in the United States, again, to make an extra nickel, to make an extra dime, will forsake their employees, especially if you're union. Say, hey, we hate unions. We're capitalists. We're greedy capitalists. We do not want to have to deal with unions. We don't want to have to deal with just, employees. We'll just send it over there in China, and we'll have the sweatshops with children, a lot of women, people that are not as well educated, and they'll make our stuff. Okay, I know that. That's how America works. Okay, we're a capitalist country controlled by certain people, and they do. I've heard some of these these one percenters called the American people the unwashed masses. And my favorite term, one of these corporate titans called the American people, the little people. The little people, like we're all, tiny little people. But to them, you're little. You're living in one of these little houses, barely surviving check to check, while they're just, they're on their yacht off the Turkish coast, having parties, etc., 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 etc. That's the life of the rich and famous in the United States, a capitalist country. So I was going to talk about corporate greed, but I pretty much talked about it by, they just, it's, the bottom line. Again, you have these CEOs at their meeting saying, we're making these items in our, Akron, Ohio plant. It cost us $10 to make it. If we just fire everybody and have our employees train the the new Chinese managers how to make them, and we move all the equipment, we just ship it over there, we can, instead of having to pay $10 to make that piece of, crap, now it's going to cost us $4. It's a win-win for the corporation. And the shareholder will go say, hey, that's fantastic, more profits, for my portfolio. Fantastic. I love it. I love it. Let's make more profits. Screw the people. Screw those workers. Again, they could care less about the workers. That's the history of the United States of America. And finally, we're not, we're not innocent in this process, the consumers. We all like cheap stuff, Instead of paying, $20 for a pair of wool socks, we can get them made in China and get them for $4. Those pair of, plastic shoes, plastic sole, plastic everything shoes, those, we make them in the United States, they cost $30, $40. They make them in China, they're now $15. Such a deal. Those headphones, those cheap-ass headphones, even the, higher-end headphones, they used to cost $60, $70, $80. Now they're made in China. They cost $20. Such a deal. We like that. Those plastic Christmas trees, those silvery plastic Christmas trees, they shimmer so beautifully, representing our Christianity so well. They're made in China, okay, by a bunch of atheists. And they say, hey, thank you very much for all you Christians buying these ornaments and figurines and trees and Christmas paraphernalia. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And so do the American corporations who, they have the stuff made in China, they have it shipped over here in bulk, and they sell it in their stores, and they distribute it. Okay, these distributors, okay, let's say Acme Christmas Tree Company. I'm just making up that word. If it happens to, be an actual company, I'm sorry, I apologize. So this Christmas Tree Company says, okay, this shopping store, the store says, hey, would you like some Christmas trees? We have these Christmas trees at $50 a pop. You can sell them for $100. And they say, okay, we'll buy them. We'll order 500 of them. And and then Walmart says, hey, we're not going to even deal with the middleman. We're just going to order them directly from China and get like 50,000 of them, 50,000 of these Christmas trees for the season, and in each size. And we'll sell them. They cost us $25, and we sell them for $100. Super, super, super profitable. And the American consumer goes, wow, these used to cost $200. Now they can only cost $100. Such a deal. Such a deal. Let me go over my little list here. Let me grab it over here. It's my little list. Again, the bloody point of the spear was Walmart. They said, hey, we can make a buck, an extra buck, by not buying from American manufacturers, but sending, saying, hey, can you make this shoe, this widget, this headphone, this pair of socks cheaper in China? And they ask the company, and they say, hell yeah. Hell yeah, we can make it cheaper because we only pay our employees $1 or $2, $3 an hour. As compared to your employees, you pay, 12, 13 bucks an hour. We can make it a hell of a lot cheaper, and you'll make more profits. Thank you very much, our Chinese, our co-conspirators. Thank you very, very, very much. And I do call them co-conspirators. And of course, the cheap labor in China, corporate greed. They just, you're the little people. You're just the consumer. You're nothing to them. If, all Americans were living on the margins and barely making their, surviving paycheck to paycheck, they could care less. Care less. A lot of Walmart employees, work, they don't work the full 40 hours because Walmart says, hey, at 40 hours, we have to offer them benefits. So we'll just give them 30 hours. And then they'll survive getting public assistance, welfare, food stamps, the usual stuff, medical assistance, maybe even, Section 8 housing. Thank you, government, for subsidizing our workers, paying for their medical care, paying for their housing, and paying for, the services that they need, because we're not going to pay it. We're Walmart. We don't give a shit. We don't give a shit about our employees, okay? Just saying. They may smile at you and say, hey, we care about our employees, but they don't. The harsh fact. If they cared about their employees, they give them 40 hours a week, give them full benefits, help them with medical care and stuff like that. But they don't. Some they do. The upper management and some of the managers, yes. But the average employee at Walmart, you ask them, how many hours a week do you work? I work 30 hours a week. Do you got any benefits? Zero. So, and Americans are complicit also because we like cheap stuff. So we go to Walmart, and we buy that toy. At least used to be able to buy that toy. We buy that toy at Walmart. We buy that Christmas tree at Walmart. We buy that T-shirt at Walmart. We buy those, pots and pans at Walmart because they're cheaper. They're absolutely a lot cheaper than most places. Okay. Just saying. And you go to Amazon.com, 90% of the stuff on there, 95%, quite a bit of the stuff. You do your research, and it's made where it's not made in, it's not made in Zurich, Switzerland, or Bruges, Belgium. No, it's not made there. It's not made in Paris. It's not made in it's not made in Naples. It's not made in Boston, the great majority of stuff. No, it's not. It's not. It's not made in Ottawa. It's made in Hong Kong, one of these mega cities of like about 50 million people, it seems. They're gigantic cities. You see all these high-rises. All these high-rises. It's insane. The worker bees in China are making all this stuff. So let's leave this report in a positive way. Hopefully, after Trump leaves office, Americans will figure out, hey, we've got to start making a little bit of this stuff in those nostalgias. Trump has all these tariffs and stuff that they're going to work a little bit. To the great extent, that's not going to help. That's just basically a tax on the working class, middle class, and they're going to pass it on to the 1%. They're going to say, thank you for all this cash we've been collecting via these tariffs, and now we're going to give it to our buddies, Musk, Bezos, all those folks like that, Zuckerberg, those friends of ours, okay? Our supporters. Thank you very much. So, so eventually Americans will wise up and say, we're not going to get it all back because, the history of the world is one place used to manufacture all the stuff, then some other place got to manufacture all that stuff, then another place got to manufacture. England used to be the powerhouse of, the production clothing, fabrics. But then it moved to the United States. And now where is it at? It's in Asia, okay? That's how it works. You know, Bangladesh, China, Vietnam, stuff like that. It always moves to where it's the cheapest. So what we can do in the United States is eventually understand that, first of all, you got to pay every American a reasonable wage. And even if you're not working, you got to earn some, you got to be able to sustain yourself, have housing, have food, have medical care. So Medicare for all, how about that? Everybody, you don't have to worry about, getting fired or having a low wage job. You can say, hey, at least my kids can go to the doctor. At least I can go to the doctor. At least my, family can go to the doctor. Number one. So we can start industrializing, slowly but surely ramping up certain things and understand that the future, like it or not, is going to be AI and robotics. They're going to replace me with a robot and AI going, they're going to use my face, as ugly as it is, and just, recreate it. And I'm going to be talking some insane stuff in about 50 years. It's going to be amazing. So in the future, we're going to create stuff with robotics, and we're going to be using AI. Not right now. We're doing that right now. And Americans are going to be displaced. Not everybody's. Instead of this amount of workforce that you need, you're only going to need this amount of workforce. So what do you do with all those people? You do community service. You do works on community infrastructure, stuff like that, and social services and a lot of retail, stuff like that, if retail's still alive by then. So there is a future, but you have to have a visionary. I'm not talking about Trump. He's not a visionary. He's the destroyer. I call him Trump the Destroyer. And some people like that. They like the fact that he's nuts. And they go, yeah, that's our man. We don't like the system. The system is treating us bad. We do not like him. Anybody, they've always treated us bad. Trump is, kicking ass. Even though he's destroying everything, he's kicking ass. We like that. But some people, I don't like it. And please don't use that little section of me saying that stuff in a meme. I don't appreciate it. So thank you very much for watching my video. This has been Jesús Manuel Mena Garza giving my commentary, my opinion. What do you think? Leave your kind and friendly comments below. Just leave it below. Just say, Jesús Garza, you're really off base. America is fabulous. China is amazing. Just leave it below. Just leave your comments and your suggestions and your opinions below. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I would greatly appreciate it. And I think in this corner, or is it that corner? You can click on that. There's and you can take a photo of it, and it'll send you directly to my website, JMMGARZA.com. That's where JMMGARZA.com. I have various channels. I get confused. I apologize. Hope you're doing well. Don't forget to ring the bell for future notifications. This has been Jesús Manuel Mena Garza giving his opinion. I'm going to be turning 73 when I'm in Prague this summer. I'm an old guy. I've seen it all, and I have the capacity to process it to a certain degree and understand it, and I'm trying to inform you from what I understand. Okay? You may understand it a different way, but I understand it this way. From Fort Worth, Texas, in my backyard, gracias. Adios. Bye-bye.